and boy did I fuck up. What's going on, fishy friends? Rich here, Rich's Fishes, and I want to take a walk around the fish room. Alright guys, so here's what's up. I'm sure everybody is interested in what's been going on with these black rams, because I know I am interested. These are two of the better looking black rams that I've had. Part of that first unboxing video I did. Since that first unboxing video where I unboxed what I'm going to call actual black rams, I mean, these are some of the blackest black rams I've actually seen, certainly in person, but even in photographs. And photographs and video do not do these fish justice. But, unfortunately, after I unboxed those black rams, I had them, let me think, I had them down here in this particular tank, which is actually right now full of a pistogramma hongsley fry. But what happened was, I had these fish down in here, and I had dosed my normal routine of dosing General Cure and erythromycin for any new fish that enter my fish room. I had them down here in this quarantine tank, and 2 or 3 days, or maybe even a week after having them, I noticed the water level was a little bit low. So what I did was, I went ahead and I turned on the freshwater supply right there, which goes through a carbon block filter in my fish room, and boy did I fuck up, because what I ended up doing was leaving that water on all night without turning it on. I came down the next day, and unfortunately I caused the untimely demise of half of these gorgeous black rams. But these two have spawned for me once or twice. I do have a couple of their offspring left. I did unbox a couple of other black rams, which I'm going to call dark rams. These are much more similar to a lot of the other dark or black rams that I'm seeing offered up for sale. These are beautiful fish, but they're just not quite as dark as those other fish. They are still pretty good looking fish though, I can't complain about that. And as a matter of fact, these particular fish have spawned twice for me, but like dummies, they keep spawning right down here, right on the glass bottom of the tank. However, if we go around the corner to what I'll call my ram breeding tank, so to say, over here is a 40 breeder where a lot of my juveniles just got moved into here yesterday. These are fish that I've been raising out in my fish room. Spawned right here by different fish in different tanks. These guys are roughly 3 months old right now. They're starting to color up, they're starting to put on some size. And above them are the various dip and pour containers I have that are each full of different fry from different spawns. This right here is actually a spawn that I pulled on May 12th, and these are from those black rams that I just showed. Right next to them, let me think. Is it this one? No. This one is the original spawn from those two fish that I just showed, the black rams. And what it looks like it has produced, the only surviving fry, we are a little past 2 weeks, the only surviving fry look like they're going to be gold. Now these black rams do end up producing golds. And supposedly, if you can get a gold offspring from black rams and then rebreed it with some blacks, that's when you start getting those really dark fish, which is what I'm really looking forward to doing. This is the second spawn from those blacks, which was a gigantic spawn, so I'm really hopeful that I'll have some more survivors. Next to them is a spawn from some blacks that I had gotten from Tom a couple of months back. I moved one of the other black females up here. This was my most prolific breeding male. And the female that he was breeding with like clockwork every 10 days. Here's all the dates of spawning. The female that he was breeding with suddenly up and died, unfortunately. So I had added in a female that wasn't looking so hot, and then I threw in another female that has a black gene in her. Just added her into the tank yesterday. This is one of those we'll call darks, not necessarily blacks. There's a lot more blue. I don't know if somebody crossed a black with an electric blue at some point. That's kind of what this looks like. She looks like maybe she's interested in spawning. That'd be nice. She's starting to clean off that saucer. He's right above her, waiting to see what she might do. So that's pretty cool. And then over here, what we got is a box to unbox from Michael's Fish Room. 2 richest fishes. I wonder what it could be. Let's find out. All right, so here we go. Whoa. My knife needs some sharpening. Alrighty, now. I know Mike packs these boxes pretty well. Oh, and we got a ton of movement in here as it is. And we've got 4 fish that look perfectly alive and well. Ooh, we got some new stickers from Michael's Fish Room. I got a coupon from Michael's Fish Room. I'm not sure, actually. I think the sticker I currently have might be nicer than this one. I'll show that later. Let's see, what else did Mike throw in here for me? Some food from supercichlids.com. More food. And what we all came for, believe it or not, are a couple of more black rams. Now, anybody who saw Mike's video the other day saw these fish in a tank in Michael's Fish Room. Mike was kind enough to reach out to me. He was going to the, I believe it was the Bucks County Aquarium Society spring auction or something like that, I believe it's called. And lo and behold, they had 4 black rams listed there for the auction. And Mike knew that I am a big fan of these black rams, and I'm very interested in trying to breed them more and more. So Mike said, hey, you want me to bid for you? We agreed upon a price that I was willing to spend, and Mike was nice enough to go and lay out the money for me. I obviously paid him back since, and pick up these 4 rams for me. Now, these rams were, as far as I understand, a donation to the Aquarium Society from Seagrass Farms. Seagrass Farms, which I believe is down in Florida, is a name that some people might know. They're a supplier to just about all the pet shops, I mean, as far as I understand, pretty much across America. Not just the big box stores, but, you know, a lot of the small mom and pop shops too, which you might consider your local fish store. And they had put out a video roughly a year or so ago highlighting these black rams, and sort of indicated that they were going to start having them available, and that stores would be able to order them in the near future and start carrying them. But I think it just proves how difficult these fish are to work with, and how they don't necessarily breed true, because as far as I understand, nobody's actually been able to order them, or at least not any stores that I know of in America. And the few people that looked into it, I believe, were told they couldn't order them even. But now here they are and available. I will say they don't necessarily look like black rams, not like these guys up here. A little more akin to what I'll call the dark rams over here, which is not saying they're not beautiful fish. I think it's just saying that there's a lot to learn yet about the genetics of these fish and how they breed and whether or not they'll breed true. And somebody who is smarter than me when it comes to biology tried to explain to me how and why this might be happening. And they used electric blue rams as an example, which is a recessive gene. And apparently a recessive gene, if you get 2 adults with that recessive gene, they produce true. They produce the same looking offspring. Whereas the dark ram or the black ram gene is apparently a simple recessive gene involving more than 2 alleles, which in my layman version means that 2 black rams don't necessarily produce black babies. And like I said before, I got some gold rams as a result of black rams having babies, so that just goes to show you how they don't necessarily breed true. But let me go ahead and get these fish that I just got from Michael and get them into a tank when acclimating. Alright guys, so we're back a couple of days later. The rams I got from Michael have had a couple of days to acclimate a little bit. Everybody seems to be doing pretty well, except for that one that I tried to focus on in the video that looked a little banged up when she got here. I'm not sure if it was Popeye affecting that fish or possibly just a genetic defect. It almost looks to me like, I think it's that one back there. Like that's a fish that probably should have been culled by the breeder. I think there's a weird gill abnormality. It would not be the first time in the very recent past that I've gotten a black ram that had Popeye, believe it or not. That other batch that I got of the ones that I was calling the not so dark blacks. One of them showed up in the bag with Popeye and was dead an hour later, and the seller refunded my money at the very least. But it's not great receiving sick fish to begin with. This is in no way a reaction to anything that Michael did or didn't do. Mike just picked up a couple of fish for me at an auction, so these aren't fish bred by him. These aren't fish he cared for. So I can't say that he should have done anything differently, nor would I say that, since he was kind enough to go out of his way to get these for me. But the unfortunate fact is that one of them doesn't look great, but still alive, going through the quarantine. All four are still doing well. Since I started shooting the video of them being unbagged the other day, let's see, I moved a couple of things around. I've got almost all of my juvenile rams growing out over here. Some gold rams, some electric blue rams, some German blue rams, some German blue electric blue ram hybrids. There are no black juveniles in here yet. I do have fry in the containers above them here in the dip and pour. These are, there are some black ram fry in these two. I've got eggs on the stone that I just pulled today that came out of a tank. Those eggs actually came from up here, which for a while was my most prolific breeding pair, except the female up and died, but there's the male. And I added a black female in with him, who looks a little beat up because he's been chasing her around. But I added one of my black females in. The camera's not going to focus nice on her, is it? It's weird. The camera just does not do these fish justice, unfortunately. But I just pulled their first spawn together today. And the rest of the rams are over here, like I said. All these tanks that's hard to film because of all the glare. But they're doing good. And I am happy with their progress. I'm happy with how they're looking. These two still look fantastic. I'm hoping they'll lay eggs again soon. These two black rams, these are darks, not blacks, spawned for me a second time. This is twice that they've chosen to spawn right there on the glass. I saw some wigglers and they didn't make it much further than that. I'm wondering if these two should be in a smaller tank. I'm hoping to get a couple of new containers or tanks. I wouldn't even call them tanks necessarily, but containers for rearing out some of these fry. I've been using these little square things here, which work out to be, I forget what they are, a little less than a gallon. There's some blacks growing out back there. There's a third container there with some fry in it. This one on the left here is the batch. Well, it's hard to tell if you're looking into one or into the through the one into the other. But these are the gold rams that were produced from the two black rams up here. These two black rams produce those gold offspring. And all the rams, all the fry that used to be in here as of a couple of days ago have been moved into their own 10-gallon tanks. There's a bunch of fry back there. These are gold rams, not from blacks. These are just gold rams. I've got more Apistogramma Honksloy growing out over here. I've just moved them into this 10-gallon tank. This is the second batch of Apistogramma fry I've gotten from the pair up here. And the first batch are now growing out over here in this 29-gallon tank. And they're starting to color up. They're starting to look pretty good. I'm afraid I might have all males. Would have been nice to get a female or two, but I believe that could be a female. The one that looks like it might have to be culled. Maybe not. She was just swimming a little funny. Maybe there's a couple of females. It's tough to tell. Sometimes the Apistogramma take a longer time to get old enough to be able to sex. I'm no expert when it comes to these guys yet, that's for sure. Maybe I take that back. Maybe some of these drabber-looking ones are female. Like this guy here, I'm 90% sure is going to be a male. He's already coloring up. Versus that one, which is kind of drab. Let's see, coming over this way. That one's kind of coloring up too a little bit. That one looks like it is a little funky. I got to start paying attention to what does and doesn't have to be culled. Other than that, everybody's doing pretty well. Got another pair of blacks up here, and all of a sudden today I noticed something on the male fish that I don't like. Is that him? No, that's her. Where's him? There's him. Him has that pimple right next to his eye. He just spit out some of the freeze-dried bloodworms I gave him earlier. That's the him. The him with the pimple. I hope that's nothing serious. It also looks like he's got a bump in his head. I'm not sure if that's the beginning of hole in the head disease. I'm not looking forward to having to deal with that with the rams. That's not something that I've commonly heard of in rams. He's got that weird depression in between his eyes there. But I'm hoping they'll spawn for me soon. Just like these two here. There's a black, a female in the back, and then electric blue. And they've spawned for me a couple of times, but not so much recently. It's been about 6 weeks since they last spawned. Still have a couple of Apistogramma fry that I missed in the tank here. The rest of his brothers and sisters now reside in the tank below him. And there's still a few that I've got over here in the breeder box, hanging on the side of this tank. Maybe I'll leave these in the breeder box for a little while. But anyway, I figured it was about time to finish the video I started shooting the other day and update everybody on the rams. All right, that's it for now, guys. I will update everybody in another video shortly. Feel free to shoot me an email, richesfishes@gmail.com. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll talk to everybody later.